From the F3 Nation podcast studios.
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
This is the COT podcast, connecting the packs of F3 Nation through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Andrew Maggio, 35, wire biter.
What biter?
Mike Kirkos, 35, Saganaki.
Saganaki.
Huckleberry, 40, rep sleepy.
Rep sleepy. Peter Ranky, 63, Bambi.
Bambi.
Welcome back to the Circle of Trust podcast. My name is Huckleberry. I'm here with F3 Nation, your head of culture. Today is June the 11th, 2025. I got the date right. I messed it up in the last podcast, but here with me, I got Flea. Flea's back. It was about a week ago we chatted, and then this is fun, so we're going to do it again. How you been, Flea?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, actually. It's a bit of a shock to the system for me. I had last week taken as vacation from work, so had a nice week off, able to post quite regularly and do those jobs around the house. Got a list from the wife to all those things, and then back to work on
those. What kind of jobs?
A couple of days ago, I put these things in the shed. You know, all those things that you keep putting off and off and off. So I got that list done finally last week. Got that off the desk, and then back to the real job on Monday. And then, I had to take a flight out. As part of my job, I do get to travel around Europe. I'm quite lucky to do so. And I've ended up in Finland at the moment. So I'm downrange. And I've been here for 24 hours now. So currently filming this in a hotel in Finland, in the middle of nowhere. Hopefully the connection's fine. But yeah, as a British guy traveling to Europe, it's always fun. We're driving on the opposite side of the road. All the road signs are in a different language that you don't understand. You've got random road signs popping up saying, beware of moose crossing. And you're like, what the heck? You don't see this in the UK. It's always an adventure when we get to go abroad. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Have you been stopped yet? Because the F3 symbol's pretty recognizable in a small section of the world. But have you been stopped over the airport?
Well, no, I haven't been wearing the shirt through the airport or to my work meetings in Finland yet. There's time for that. But no, Finland's not been a breakthrough country yet for F3. There's no AOs anywhere in Northern Europe. So that's certainly a target region for me. I've got lots of colleagues up here. I am telling them about what I'm doing. Hopefully one of them will catch on and we can get something going up in Northern Europe.
I love it. Any updates, news for the nation? We had a GoRuck code that seems to have gone down, and we are working on that. Please check the Nation Slack. There's tons of information going on. Great discussions going on in there. Some discussions about making sure F3 is open to all men. That seems to be a constant array, a topic and definition, and tons of great opportunities to collaborate and discuss. And I really appreciate F3 taking the lead on tough discussions. That's the point of this podcast, Circle of Trust. And that's really all I have. You got anything over there in the UK? What you guys doing new? Anything?
There is lots going on in terms of activities. It's not just our Yorkshire region in the north of England where we are. We're now doing and planning lots of things going on with our fellow regions in the Midlands and in the Southeast and in the Northeast. We're now starting to look at our UK convergence, which is going to be occurring on the 28th of June later in the month. Planning some further exciting events for later in the year that are going to be cross-regional, fostering that fellowship between the regions, really. Again, let's bring it all together. We're stronger together. And we really fuel each other to drive our mission towards what we want to do. So yeah, lots of exciting things going on. But I'm sure our guest who we're going to talk to next will give us lots of insights into what those are.
And quick question, dumb question. It's Father's Day this weekend here in the United States. Is it Father's Day in the UK as well?
It is Father's Day on Sunday the 15th. And to mark the 15th, a bit of a story to this one. So when I started F3 back in September 2024, one of the first things that I did, I set myself a target in terms of something to aim for. I thought, well, if I'm going to start working out, I need some target in the distance. That's how I work. I need something to lock on to, something to focus on. Sure. So I signed up for this 10-kilometer run, going to be happening on the 15th of June, which is Father's Day. So when I started my F3 journey, it was about what's that, 40 kilos? I'm just trying to do the quick maths, about 70 pounds heavier than I am now. So back then it was quite a target to do 10K, firstly without stopping, and certainly wouldn't have done it in less than 1 hour 30. Bit of different journey now, different story. I'm a lot lighter, a lot fitter.
But you still don't like running?
I still hate running. It's still an active no. If anyone turns up queuing a session and they say we're going to do loads of running, I'm like, oh man, it's not my favorite thing to do. So yeah, a bit of a personal but personal challenge for me this Sunday. Do that 10K without stopping. If I can do it in less than an hour, I'll be super happy with that. So yeah, I'll see how I get on, and I'll update you with the news on
well,
how we're going.
I tell you, Friday I queued, and I almost got through the everything, and I was like, oh my God, I got to ask for feedback. I got this guy Flea who promised me, or made me promise rather, that I would ask for feedback. I'll be honest with you, I didn't listen. I didn't listen to any of it. I block it all off. I'm like, no, I'm not listening. It's hard enough to get in that middle and be. But one of the workouts you talked about running, I stole this idea from F3 Omaha. It was battle boards where it was D-Day. So we kind of had this endless battle. Typically we try to get them crawl through sand. I couldn't make that work. But it's a line, and you take these boards, and there's an exercise underneath it, and you do them, and you throw it across the line, and you have another team, and they just kind of throw the battle boards back and forth. And there's never a winner. And it never ends. But about 10 minutes in, you say, okay, let's go run. A double applesauce mosey, and it is. The guys are like, oh, thank God we're running. And then after about a quarter mile, the guys are like, all right, I'm ready to go back to the workout. And so there's that yin and yang of wanting to go run and not wanting to go run and going back to the workout. And Dredd has always said that's the perfect workout. The workout where you're tired, you just want to be done. Looking forward to the run. I'm looking forward to the workout. Bounce back in that for 45 minutes. It's a pretty dang good workout. And I've always tried to subscribe to that if I could. But yep, I do love to run.
Yeah. And you've got different guys who have different abilities and different choices as well. So, we've got, certainly in our AOs and the guys who post with us, you've got really strong runners, like guys who are very, very good runners. But then if you ask them to do a few big boy sit-ups, they're struggling, So, but then the other hand, you ask me to do a few calisthenics and push-up, more than happy to do that all day, but ask me to go for a run, and thank you. Again, how do you cater for both? Do you cater for both, or do you challenge both at the same time? We should be challenging both.
And good runners that run 40, 50 miles a week, man, one twisted something is time off. And that is you are coming back down that hill fast. And I get it why they would be a little bit more hesitant to go to a boot camp. I certainly was back in my early days. I was more of a runner. Now I enjoy the boot camps more. But yeah, I get that. I certainly get that. Runners avoid those different movements. Need to work on core strength though. Get in there. But you're right, and thank you for modifying. I love the double applesauce mosey that keeps the whole group together. So you're picking up the 6 at the same time, and we're all sitting there together. I enjoy that. Yeah, did not go to a workout today. I got a couple things going on. I got a big event next weekend, and I do. And you tell me this is wrong. And maybe there's times in my life where I need to cut some things off my plate. F3 is kind of one of those first things. I'll be honest with you. It's probably the time I need more. It's more of a time and energy and issue. And I find that balance works a little bit better for me. And I need that. I got a big 50-mile bike ride coming up this weekend. And I just need to rest a little bit. Or this is like my Saturday. I know Saturday and Sunday going to be busy. So I do that. I don't know if you do that. I don't know if that's appropriate to say. People are like, no, you got to post every morning. And
How dare you? How dare you think of cutting a BD from your schedule?
You left your brothers alone in the gloom.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably guilty of the latter, actually. I feel guilty if I don't go to a BD. So this morning, I was really guilty I couldn't be there. Obviously, downrange, I can't help it, But on the other side, as I said, I've got a 10K this Sunday. I'm on the back on Saturday of doing a 28 mile up and down CSUP event that we did with F3, the Yorkshire Three Peaks walk. So my legs are tired, my whole body's tired, my fatigue level's through the roof. I need some rest days. I posted Monday and Tuesday, and I've got this 10K. I need to rest a couple of days. I'm at that point where I was like, no, I need to listen to my body. I need to prepare for this 10K that, as I said, I don't train for. I haven't trained for. Don't want to fit in any training runs. I'm completely avoiding the topic. So yeah, my body's telling me, no, just have a couple of days, just not doing anything, just rest off. Couple of light BDs Friday. I'm queuing on Saturday, so I get to set the agenda the day before the run. So guess what we're doing? It's not legs, I can tell you that.
I'll blame you.
So yeah, just being gentle, and then after Sunday, back into it, and then I'll post daily if I can.
Fantastic. All right, I got some questions I'm gonna ask you. You ready to go?
Go for it.
And let me think. Is Sage in here yet? Can we bring Sage in?
I think it's time to bring him in.
All right, we also have a young man coming in, guest. His name is Sage, and he's also over there in the UK. Don't adjust your mics. They all sound We all sound weird. I love that we went from two guys in a room in North Carolina, in a garage in North Carolina, and now it's a hippie out in the Pacific Northwest, and it's two guys over in the UK. And what a change! What a change that is for the listeners, or for sure for this podcast. But Sage, go ahead and take over.
Thanks for the introduction. Well, I definitely like the young man, so I'll take that. Nice to meet you. Excited to be here. Am I just introducing myself from my 3 stories straight away, or?
I think the tradition is hospital name, age, and F3 name is.
I need a bit of direction there. Yes, hospital name Richard Couch, 45, and F3 name Sage. Nice to meet you. So my story is I've been involved in F3 for coming up to about a year or so now. It's been a very kind of fast road, and just listening to Flea talk there, quite exciting about the journey we've been on in Leeds in particular in the past 9 months. But probably zooming back to a year or 2 to 3 years ago, I was in that kind of midlife, mid-career kind of pause, really, looking for a bit of direction, always liked and been involved with group sports. So I used to teach a lot of martial arts and things like that. Listened to a Art of Manliness podcast, not the one, and it was with a Navy SEAL, and he just mentioned outdoor exercise, and he goes, oh yeah, the F3 guys. So I thought, I'll track that podcast down, listen to that podcast, and thought, that sounds great, straight on the socials. And I found that it was down in the UK, so WhatsApped someone, and half an hour later had a conversation with Safari, who is the Nantan down there. Great guy. And he said, yeah, we'll support you to set up whatever you need. Few conversations, and then some of those guys actually were up in the area around Leeds, Manchester, Huddersfield. So I did an off-the-books beatdown with them, just 2 guys and me. A little bit weird at first when they didn't shake hands. We kind of did a fist pump. I said, oh, don't we shake hands? He's like, oh, no, fist pump. So just getting the lingo, but the workout was brilliant. I'm pretty fit, but I was challenged, and it was hard enough. I really liked the circle of trust and the word. It just hit the mark. And that was kind of August, probably a bit earlier, July time last year. So from there, just planning. I launched in September last year, just about 2 miles from where I'm sat now, looking over the fields. I posted on by myself for a few sessions, kind of 2 or 3. So I was there at 5:45 a.m., but no one was turning up. So I'd do 20 minutes and then go home. Then Flea was one of the first people, or if not the first person to come. First. I must admit, I was a little bit worried about him first time. He went a bit white, green, grey at the time, because it was a hard session.
It was a hard 11 session, that, mate. That was that. Looking back, that was a hard session.
Yeah, but now I think you'd walk that. It never gets easier. You just push it more, don't you? And then I'd roped in a couple of friends, and then it just started going from there. And I think we kind of reached the massive numbers at 4 or 5. But then we came into winter, which I was just thinking about this before I came on, and I think that's really where we bonded in some kind of -6 sessions, snow and ice. And also then we went out for a beer just to a local pub. That moment, I just remember sitting back, there's kind of 7, 8 guys, had a few drinks, and I just thought, this is it. So now that core is really quite strong. 2 AOQs and various people on the SLT. And it's just grown from there, really. I think Flea has just flown, and the kind of energy and enthusiasm that he brings is amazing. We're 3 AOs now, and looking for 4, 5 kind of ideas to get into other towns and cities around this area, which will be quite easy, I think. Facebook in particular is excellent, has been excellent for us.
I don't hear people say Facebook is excellent very often.
Oh, really? It just works. So I think there was so many people to kind of thank as well, because you don't do it on your own. So Safari was amazing down south, Homer, Sticks. Without those guys and kind of the belief that they had in me, you might not have done it, but that support was there. And then hopefully I'm passing some of that on now to new guys setting up new locations.
And I'm going to pause you for just a second. I heard you mention Homer. I have had the pleasure of meeting Homer over here. I think we were in California at a Freedom Ops event. And I think he just got done with a 1,000-mile bike ride with our buddy Linus.
Linus,
right?
Yes. They actually shared a room with Linus in 88 when I went down south for the big kind of the Freedom Ops event that they did down there. So, yeah, it was good to share a house with
I know how much Linus Nors.
Well, I wasn't in the same room. I was in the room with 88, and he was on his phone to his wife at about 2 or 3 in the morning, or text messages were going off. I think there's a bit of a different time zone going on. But great to meet those guys. And I think, again, when I went down to the Freedom Ops thing, it just cemented everything. I thought, I'm all in, and have been since.
Yeah. And so you did do the Freedom Ops event that was in the UK.
I didn't. I carried a knee injury into it, so I didn't have the preparation, but I did the beatdown and I did the leadership stuff for 2-3 hours, but then I left them to the overnight ruck on that occasion.
Sage, why didn't you tell us about your BD this morning?
Yeah, so I was listening to you just talking about how much we should push in sessions, and I reflect quite a lot, hence probably my F3 name, and I love training hard. I love that kind of redlining, but I was finding I wasn't recovering really, and we've got a lot of sessions now that we can do in Leeds 5-6 days a week. So I'd probably I'm changing my philosophy a little bit, kind of 7 out of 10, but trying to do more sessions, but maybe a little bit intense, a bit less intense so I can recover. My point being, so I was queuing today, and it was the second week of a new AO. I had lots of grand plans of doing. I like 7 of diamonds as a structure. I really like that, so I thought I'll bring some sandbags and really go for it. But it would have been too much to have those sandbags, and so even today, I think it was just my lesson of where kind of new guys or FNGs can be in their fitness, and probably where we are now 6 months, 9 months in. So I had to kind of downgrade the session a bit, but it was fine. Everyone enjoyed it. Everyone was smoked at the end. And it's not about leaving them on the floor, is it? Because you want them to come back next week or to attend another session. But I think that's an interesting point just around frequency and consistency over intensity. And sometimes I need to reteach myself that lesson. But yeah, it was really nice. Lots of sunshine. And yeah, good. So we had 4 or 5 FNGs that had come back from that first session. So a pretty good hit rate of returners, and that'll just grow. I think that'll just keep going from strength to strength.
Yeah, I must say that Toffee is the as a new AOQ for that AO has done a fantastic job in terms of publicity. He's gone really hard on the socials. He's done lots of flyering, done lots of interactions with local businesses to get the word out. He was at the BD this morning again, taking lots of photographs of the workout in order to then put onto social media to get some generation on like different Facebook groups local to the area. So he's done a fantastic job. It's been a blueprint for us for the UK of how to launch a new AO in terms of getting the word out, getting the plans in place. It's been really well executed, I must say. So yeah, full on T-claps and kudos to him.
Flyers have helped in addition to Facebook. I nearly had to kind of shout at him today though to stop taking photos and do some work.
Do some workout.
Actually,
I've brought a camera in.
Yeah,
we've got grand plans, Toffee and I. So Toffee and I have been friends for 10 years, and I roped him into come to F3. I EH'd him about 3 months ago, Sage, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, probably. So yeah, we've known each other for a while. We've both got drones, and I keep saying to him, we should get our drones out. We should get some beat down drone footage. Yeah, it'd be great for the social medias. We are going to get the drones out for our UK convergence later in this month. So we will have 60, 70, 80, 90 guys drones footage of simultaneous workouts, and all those guys in Cadence size roller hops from a drone will look fantastic. Yeah.
I wanted to make a comment as well, actually, around fitness is what brings everyone, and I think sometimes I want to run before I can walk, and so got a lot of guidance from the guys down south around social. So we put the social on after about 3 months, which was great. I think in hindsight, I'd have probably started the 30-30s sooner. I don't know why I was reluctant, thing around Yorkshire men not being able to open up and talk to each other, which is a myth, by the way. So as soon as we put it on, everyone was there was trust there and sharing. But I remember around the third F, and I was asking Sticks in particular, what should I do? How can we push it? And he said, relax, really, it'll come. And I didn't really know what he meant by that. But I think we've started to see that recently, Flea, with 10Ks and sponsorships, and people are doing different events now for charity and service. And it is just happening organically without me needing to force it too much. So it's great. The recipe, just looks after itself a little bit, I think.
We'll make sure we'll get for those guys watching it on YouTube. We'll get go get some pictures of those that beat down this morning. Some pictures of Sage queuing this morning to put up on the podcast. Some really nice pictures to show the rest of the world.
All right, let me ask some questions in here. How do you guys, and I know you're new, but how do you identify emerging leaders within your group, and what practices have you found? Have you failed? Have you found a guy that maybe isn't a leader? And that's a tough conversation. Good luck.
It's a very good question. I think maturity of where we're at. I mean, bear in mind our region, and Sage and I, we're the longest serving members of F3 Yorkshire. I mean, by a couple of days, but we're the longest 2 serving members, and from a maturity point of view, we've known each other 9 months. That's not a long time to gauge each other, let alone those guys coming through. So in terms of the maturity cycle and bringing the new guys in and understanding them and how they work and where they can be deployed in terms of leadership skills and traits, it's still quite new. So I think we're still at the first iteration stage, aren't we, in terms of guys getting their places and get allocating them roles. We're still at that stage. We haven't gone through to failure, I guess, in any cases I can really think of, just because it's the first time we've really allocated an SLT.
Yeah, we've just got those roles out, haven't we, really, Flea? But I think you can identify a leader, but they also emerge as well. And I think we saw some of those guys just emerge in the first couple. Sometimes I guess it's some of the louder ones or the people that hold back for the 6. But I think Flea and I talk, and you also see there's other characteristics as well, especially with some of the fitness. So some of the roles we've given haven't been to the loudest guy or the person that shouts the most either, but the consistent guy who is always there as modelling the behaviour that you want to see. I don't think we've had any failure yet. Huckleberry, what's that looked like for you, kind of stateside? Any failures that you've identified, and how did you deal with it for kind of lessons for us?
I have I don't know, an F3 standpoint, but I know who I like to work with and I choose to work with. I find that there's a lot of great leaders if they have a lot of direction. If you give them a lot of direction, they can lead that way. But sometimes I just want the guys that just take that initiative and figure it the fuck out. They're able to kind of take what's given to them and just bridge that gap on their own. Without a lot of support, and sometimes this is all I prefer that. It creates new, it creates new ideas, and I worry that after too much, they just sound like me, with too much direction, and I don't want that. I don't want an extension of me. I want a guy and EHing a great EHing seems to be a particular skill set. And some guys have this magic touch, and they're like, I call him the mayor. My buddy Moab, he's the mayor. He's got. Luckily, he's underneath my family tree, so my family tree's general. I don't know if you guys, your computers keep your family tree yet, but some guys can just get out there and they're just infectious, and they just spread that good message, and they're a lot more. And some guys can't. Some guys just cannot sell what they're doing. They can do it, but they don't sell what they're doing. So there's a lot of different qualities. A failure. I have seen a couple failures, I think. I'll give you an example. We had an AO that was just magnetic. It happened to be my home AO, Goose Dynasty. We were averaging 20 to 15 packs right out the gate. And then within 2 months, I think we were suggested to split it up. And I don't think that's an appropriate time to split it up. I think it needs to roll through maybe a leadership change and seeing if those numbers sustain. And sure enough, we transitioned to AOQs, and that mayor I was talking about, Moab, went away. And now we're probably around 10, which is probably the size that it's a comfortable size. You get to know all the guys' size, and some of the other guys now go to another AO, and it kind of spread the wealth a little bit. But that's how it is. I haven't really seen anybody fail personally as a leader. I've seen different models and methods of things I wouldn't do, but no, I think it's a gamut of people, and I love working with everybody. I enjoy that. So. But I do look for the guys who need less direction. I think that's a box I like checked.
And it depends where they're deployed as well. I mean, if you look at the roles, if you look at someone who's maybe tasked as like an expansion queue, let's call it that, where they're tasked to like look at new AOs, find areas, get the publicity, go and launch X new BDs of a new AOs. That's a different skill set and different mentality to someone who's tasked to maintain and protect the core that we've got and ensure those guys are turning up for the BDs. They're different skill sets. Yeah, I'm great at the let's go out and just go and find new places and let's engage. That's where I love operating. You ask me to farm, and it's the same with like a sales guy. And if we've got any sales executives in F3, you do that for their day job. You've got your farmers who like looking after the day-to-day accounts, and they'll get the most out of what they've got, and they do a great job at it. But if you're asked for someone to be a hunter, to go out and hunt down new opportunities or hunt down new AOs, that's different skill set, different mentality. So it's knowing your team and knowing the guys around you who can be best deployed to get the best out of them in order to get the best for the organization and the movement.
And I think that is a trick with team building. And Sage, I'm going to go because I'm sorry I hesitated that gap. But in getting in that group and being comfortable with your own strengths and weaknesses and letting the other guys fill those gaps. I would make a terrible first FQ. I'd put stargazers in every other exercise. I just love looking at the stars. But I think I'd do great second F, third F. But I'm okay with that. And I think not holding other people to what you think they should be is a challenge for all of us. And it's just accepting of people where they are and then moving them from there. But Sage, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's diversity within a leadership team as well. I think without Flea, I don't think I'd have expanded things as much, and Flea brought some friends who then started this new and up. But it's good because I think Flea and I probably complement each other quite well. At first, Flea, I was almost thinking to myself, I think you need to calm down a bit and let's not launch a new AO straight away. I'm a bit more consolidating, a bit more kind of green, safe personality. But Flea, this is the beauty of F3. It's freed to lead, isn't it? And Flea was accelerating. His fitness was great. I said, yeah, go for it. I'll support you. I don't think I'll be queuing all the sessions or many sessions. And he was like, it's fine. I've got it. And yeah, I think it's good. It's not for me to slow anyone down, is it? It's for you to just set them up to succeed. And if it didn't work, then you learn from it and do something else. But I'm not sure I've ever said that to you, Flea, that I nearly thought about slowing you down. But now you know. It's all coming out.
Well, you would have been. You would
have
been
like a
wrong.
truth serum. I would have been wrong. But I think it's an interesting thing of what the only thing I was worried about was potentially watering down what we had by starting a new one. And it hasn't done that because we got that really core group of guys over the winter that is still there, and they've gone to some of the others. I think interesting enough, it hasn't taken off the second AO as much as we thought it would for various reasons, but we keep plugging away. And as long as you're serving those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys, then it's not a problem. I thought we'd have had 15, 20 regularly. But again, I think coming back to advice I got from Safari at the beginning, I wanted 10 guys straight away. And he said, as long as there's one person, you're doing a good job, or you're doing the job that you're there to do and be of service. Yeah, just adjusting expectations.
Average numbers now across all three are about 7 to 8 regularly.
Yeah, 8 today.
That's guaranteed. You're going to get 7 to 8 that each
Yep.
including the new one, including the third one that we've got. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. After only 9 months of being up and running.
Do you guys know everybody?
Yes, within the first 2 AOs. I've only been to the first BD of the new AOs, and I was queuing that one, so I was not concentrating really on engaging with the people. I was there to do my job, deliver the workout, do the logistics and stuff. So no, I don't know personally the new guys who've turned up, but everyone else at the other 2, the other 35, 40 guys we've got. Yeah.
Nice. And boys, yeah, we used to know everybody and enjoy that while it lasts. It gets so big and then it just becomes, man, I just wish I knew everybody again. And you can't keep up with that. And then in 5 years, you guys will be like the goats, they're going to look up to you with all the wisdom that you've been around for so long. And I know you're new now, but you won't be here shortly. And I miss those tight, when you're new relationships that are formed. And then just know, I think there's a phenomenon with a small group. You have to show up because nobody else will. When you get to a larger group, you start thinking, I don't have to go. Somebody else will be there. And there's just so much power in that small group. And of course, proximity, there's nothing more powerful than proximity. And so not being proximal with other guys is frequently, it's a different, and I struggle with that. I struggle with that because I miss those relationships with those other guys. When I used to have to drive 30 minutes across town, now I don't. I just drive 5 minutes and it's right there in front of me. So good luck with that.
I
if
think
you figure that out,
proximity is yeah, a key just from, again, something you don't understand until you experience it, of just being close to these guys. And you see these people more than your old uni friends or your old school friends now, and you don't leave those guys behind, but kind of F3 guys become a big part of your life because you're seeing them 4 times a week, maybe more. And it's that, I think I was missing, because I work from home quite a lot, and I was just missing that interaction and the laugh and the kind of taking the mick out of each other. And that happened pretty quickly, just guys getting together, making fun of each other. It's all good. It's all for good reasons, but it's hilarious. And it just, like, you never regret getting up just for some of the jokes that go on.
Let's talk about Q Source. You guys dive into Q Source. What have you found that resonates over there with the UK guys? Tell me more about that.
We
I'll
are
go,
using Q
please.
Source, yeah.
Yeah. So I think when I'd started, because I'm a reader, I read Q Source first because I found it on the internet and really liked it. But I'd read it before my first BD, really, and the guys gave me the advice, read Free to Lead. But I think once you've read Q Source, it was weird to do it the other way around. We've been using it in our 30Ps so often. We'd cycle it. So we'd have a 30-30 every 2 weeks. 1 week it's a Q Source topic. 1 week it's up to the Q, whatever they want to talk about. So we've talked about addiction and various things. So we've followed it really from the beginning. So I think things that have really hit the mark was Concentrica, in particular, just focusing on your end and where does work fit into that. We had a long discussion about that. So I think, yeah, it's the guys are getting it. I don't know how many people have read it. We tend to send the podcast out and send the link to where people can read it online. But yeah, I don't know, but I know you've got a copy, Flea, but I don't know if other people have said to you that they're reading it much, or is it mainly just what we're going through in the 30-30s?
No, I know at least 3 guys who are reading it and working through it, but it's not 100%.
Yeah, I'll be the first to tell you, I haven't read it. You know, there's tons of guys that do, and I get to participate in all the discussion. I've read about half of it. We've had some website updating, but there's tons of guys that do, and you can still participate in the discussions. It is everybody has a reading preference, and Q Source is a unique read. It has some, Dredd loves making up words, man. He loves making up some crazy words. And that just doesn't hit my brain. I just need it told simply and specifically. And that was a tough read for me. So I don't think that's that's not one of the 5 core principles. Have you read Q Source? So I appreciate you saying, yep, I ain't read it yet. So love that.
But what we do is we do bring in, as the Sage said, we do bring in a topic and try and link it to something from Q Source, whether it's quadrants, whether it's 1, 2, 3, third F, whether it's a Concentrica model or something that's some applied theory from Q Source. We'll try and make some sort of link during that 30-30 discussion, but we won't get it out and read it chapter and verse out word for word. We'll take some learnings from it, some applied principles from it, and then apply that to the topic that we want to talk about.
Can I tell you my current, what I'm working through? So my kid's not the best player on the team, baseball. And there's a chance we've already gotten the call from the coach about, getting cut and the thing. And I'm okay with it. I hope my kid learns to hate riding the bench more than anything. Like, I would rather you just be active and you're contributing, and riding the bench just isn't fun. Allowing somebody else to judge your worth, and they get to decide you're on the bench. Is that accurate? And it started to make me think about, man, we're all susceptible to this. We're all at work. Now I'm just waiting for the coach to come in. They send me that 3:00 Friday email. Hey, I need to chat with you and let you know you're not the starter anymore. And those speeches are inevitable to all of us at all times. Even in F3, there's going to be a time where I'm not the head of culture anymore. And I hope to do well on my way here, but it's, and we just allow ourselves to let other people judge our worth. And so when I read missionality, where somebody comes and asks you to do a job, it's finite. At some point, at the end of that process, there's a chance you're going to let that person down. The person who asked you to come and do this, they're going to be like, man, I should ask somebody else, or it wasn't exactly how I thought it was going to be. And the likelihood of you letting somebody down, and I may have misheard missionality. I'm not an expert in Q Source, so I don't talk about it a whole lot. But that's even at this old age, I am scared of failure. I want to work real hard, and I want to be successful in a lot of arenas, and letting other people down and letting other people judge that is probably something I'm going to continue to I think that'll persist forever. I don't think I'll ever just relax with that. I don't know. That's kind of where I am with some of those discussions. Yeah, you got any examples?
I liked Q Source. I think I'm 80-20 on most things, but I got quite a lot from it. I think some strong phrases around. I really liked the story. Dread, I'll probably get it all wrong, but where he was talking about his boss in the military and kind of bitching about him, and the boss was kind of behind him in the dark or something, and stepped forward and said, you don't have to like it, but you do have to understand it. Does everyone understand? And that really resonated with me because I work in change management within healthcare, and a lot of the things we do, people don't like, but using that kind of phrase has helped us move forward on a few things of you don't have to like it, but do you understand it? And do you understand the reasons behind this change in it? And I found it's helped people move forward quite a lot. So yeah, that was something I'd definitely taken from it.
Yeah, just to extrapolate on that, I think that first letter, that V for vision, that is it. That change management. That's right. Just explain to the team. If you're that change agent, if you've got to be doing that change, you're responsible for that change. The least you can do is explain to the team why we're doing it. Is it a business reason? Is it a personal reason? This is why we have to do this change, guys. As I say, you may not like it, but the business, the overlords, the whatever, has decided this has to be done, and it's our job to deliver it. So I'm explaining to you as the middle manager, the person in between, the person responsible for this change. This is the vision. You can get that across, and they understand that view, that vision. You've got a much higher probability of that getting completed and the team to be on board.
Anything you found in F3 that you're like, this could be tweaked. It's incomplete. I won't say it's wrong, but is it anything you found? Maybe it's the transition from Lost in Translation from America to Britain. Anything?
That is a great question. I think the only thing that probably I found a little bit challenging to swallow at first was just faith as the word. And then quite quickly I was able to understand what it meant. What we find we have to do is clarify that quite quickly. Even I think when Flea did the word last week, someone said, "Oh, what's the third F? Just explain that to us." So I think because the UK religion isn't necessarily up front, and you've got the secular society, just that explanation of what the third F is. And people are often quite fine with that, really, aren't they? It's just that I very much come from it's service, it's something bigger than you, and people are happy with that. I think that was the only thing that can come as a little bit of a sticking point. I think just while I've got the microphone, I was going to just add not overselling it sometimes too much. When I first started, I was very much F3s coming to Yorkshire on Facebook, get excited, but no one knew what it was or really cared. And the key is it's fitness. So free boot camp, open to all guys, meet early, twice a week. That's all we needed to do. And then the other stuff just comes with time, with the social and the service. But yeah, I think not, because I've certainly drunk the Kool-Aid, so I've got my F3 kit and all of that, but to other people, they don't know what it is. They don't really care. They just want to work out, get fitter, or some socializing. So it's sometimes coming under the radar, I think, is what I learned as well. But maybe there'll be a time when it does sell itself a bit like Parkrun in the UK that's just spread globally. And now you start with that Parkrun sell. So maybe we'll get to the point when F3 becomes a very recognizable brand in the UK. I think it will. And when I'm explaining to people what it is, often I'll say it's a bit like Parkrun. It's free. It's a bit that kind of free franchise model, but I think it'll take over the UK. 5 to 10 years, it'll be.
Tell me about how F3 is. And let me give you an example. After I came home from my first Freedom Ops event, I just felt. I know we use the word unlocked. I'll say unleashed. I just felt like, man, why am I waiting for permission so much? This needs to get done. And I felt empowered a little bit through F3, just that leadership practice and guys saying, just go do it and free to lead. I just felt it. And then I became less tolerant of other people who wouldn't. I could easily recognize guys that bogged me down or put the work back on me. It was real good. Hey, where's this? I don't know. Why don't you go check there? Like, no, you go check there because that was your job. So how has F3 kind of intertwined itself in your personal life and tangled that up and won't let go? Where are you at with that?
So I'll take that one. I think that, those things that we get taught through F3, the principles of leadership and development of leadership, Sort of goes side by side with what I've been doing in terms of my business skills and the leadership development programs that you get put through when you're in these corporations and things. So for me, it's about understanding your personality style, understanding where you sit on, for example, if you use like a DISC profile, which is, your personality analysis and where you sit, how does that theory of what we learned for leading a workout, preparing and organizing a team locally to deliver these free workout schedules, how does that fit in what you've learned from work in terms of programs? What skills can you bring from your work into what we do in F3 in terms of organization and delegation and your skill set? But then what can you bring from F3 into what you do at work? That directness, that to the point, if you're giving a cadence count, you've got to be straight to it. There's no messing around. So for me, if those packs who are listening know anything about the DISC profile, I sit in that analyst section. So I'm the guy who likes to get data, who likes to understand, who likes to deep dive, who likes to be very comfortable with knowing and understanding situation before making a decision and going on. I've got colleagues who are the completely opposite side who sit in the D, the driven section. Those are the guys that are bang, 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 fire off the hip, like, no, instant decision, we're going to go this way. We clash, right? The analysts and those direct guys completely clash. So for me, that leadership that I've learned from F3 is moving away from that analyst. It's getting a little bit more direct, clear, precise. I've got to make decisions on the fly. For example, I'm guilty of this, I planned a workout. Oh, damn, it's 35 minutes. We're 35 minutes in. I've got nothing else left on my sheet. I need to wing it. I need to make something up quick. Right, I've got to lead on the fly. Those skills I've had to learn pretty quick. And that's helped me at work. That's really helped me at work to be a little bit more on the fly, decisive. No, we've got to take these decisions and get on with it. So yeah, it has. In answer to your question, what have I learned? For me, it's those incisive, fast response decisions, and on the other side, the strategic planning that we need to do. How do we launch an AO? And I talked earlier about how those are different skill sets. I've had to learn both and hone both.
And just to follow up, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Sage talk about how you push, like maybe you were pushing out AOs too quickly, and then maybe that. So it's interesting that you kind of were, I don't want to say hypocritical, but I don't know what the right word is, but you're talking about how you need to assert yourself more. And just a little while ago, he was talking about, man, you need to slow down a little bit. So I love that. Sage, what you got?
Yeah, I think Flea answered that really well. It's such a good question. I wanted to just jump in as well. From my point of view, I think what F3 did for me was just relight the fire, or lit a big fire kind of under my ass, if I'm allowed to use that word. And I think
Absolutely.
Thank you. It translated straight away to work, where I went for a new job, and just the confidence that I think I'd got back. It was always there. It just kind of mild to moderate sad clown. But it had come back, because I'm like, yeah, I can do this, and I can lead. And I think going back into work, that really helps. So I got promotion. And I think F3 though isn't in isolation. I think it complements other things. I'm a big fan of David Marquet, who is ex US naval commander. So he's got a leadership is language. So he talks about intent-based leadership a lot. So I moved from kind of saying, can I or could I, to my intention is to do this. What questions do you have? And so I'd say that to my boss. Flea, you might have noticed the other day, I'm trying to move on the planning for the queuing. So I just said, my intention is to pass this over to you. What questions do you have? It's very much that same language. And so I think F3 benefits the outer world, but then I think that you can bring the outer world into F3 as well. I don't think they exist separately.
How about the family? You both talk about work. Let's talk about family. How's F3 improved your relationship with your family? If it has, what has it made it worse? You fall asleep on the couch at 8 o'clock when you should be talking to your wife.
My wife was a bit annoyed at first by, she's like, you're gonna do this all the time, like you're waking me up. But I think she's seen the change or improvement in me, just probably in mood, in energy. Yeah, I'm a bit tired. We've gone to bed early for a long time now because we've got youngest kids, and that's just carried on. But I think, I'm really probably more present with my kids. I think learning around, probably QSOS around 2.0 was useful. And, when I'm with my kids, phones away, and We talked about that, Flea. We've talked about that a number of times just in 3030s about problem with mobiles and what they do. So, yeah, it's a good reminder always to put your phone away, be present with your kids because you don't get that time back. But yeah, I think it's really improved it. Everyone's got nicknames. We've given everyone some F3 nicknames. And the kids just, it's modeling as well, isn't it? So I think, they see dad go in training 3-4 times a week. And I don't think you can do anything better than model good behaviors as opposed to tell them what to do. Yeah, Flea, how about you?
I think similar story. I think that coming back to that concentrica model, putting the M at the center of the concentrica was where I was failing. I think that was summary of me in 2022, 2023. Work was absolutely taking over everything that I did. 9 till 5, and further past 9 till 5, I mean 7 till 7. It was 12, 13-hour day. It was crazy. On top of doing an MBA part-time remote learning, I was putting a disproportionate amount of hours into Mammon and myself rather than having the M and 2.0 at the center of the outer of the concentrica. So, yeah, it completely flipped my view on things. It all came at once for me, really. I took a change of job in May 2024, which was then home office based, so I could spend more time at home. That was great. I could therefore spend more time with the kids. I could do more things around the house, which my wife was very happy with. She, in terms of love language, is a very service-driven love language. And if those who don't know it, another topic we've done with the guys is 5 love languages. Again, worth a read. I'm very physical touch. My wife is service driven, so she, if I'm doing things around the house, that's a great thing for her. So she really appreciates that and sees that as a big act of interest in the relationship. So for me to be active was a great improvement. So yeah, getting home, being home on time, being home all day, doing the dishwasher, walking the dog, doing the washing, doing the tidying, doing the vacuuming, blah, 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 taking the bins out, all of these things, cooking, it's just things off her plate as well when she's got stressful jobs. For me, that started to fall in place in 2024. And then me going to start working out, getting into physical shape. It brings the mental shape into it as well. I'm more alert. I'm up. I've walked the dog in the morning by the time she's got up after posting myself. Me and the dog have both exercised by the time her and the kids are getting up. The house is a lot better place with me being in better shape, mentally and physically. Whereas before, like Sage said, I was not in a good place. I was working too much. I was not engaged. I was tired. I was not interested. So yeah, I think a lot of guys, most guys out there in the world underestimate how good a few hundred burpees in the morning can be for you.
Changes everything.
Oh goodness. I do, and I know it took F3 to make me realize this, but I used to just say marriage is 50-50, 50-50. And I don't remember who told me, but it was they like yanked me up and said it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. And it manifests in the little things like emptying the dishwasher first thing before my wife gets up. She just loves the fact that she wakes up and the dishwasher's already been emptied. So what you said, it's put that little bit tiny more effort into being intentional and purposeful and present. You guys all said those things. So oh my God, I get chills. It's all the same things. You guys figure that out. Please let me know.
Most important question of the day though, Huck, which we've completely missed. Cafeteria this morning. What did you do?
I didn't go to workout this morning. I told you that.
Oh.
I was in the kitchen. And
But you enjoy the coffee yourself, yeah?
We do. And this, but AO I'm at, we don't do parking lot. I don't know, guys just run off Monday, Wednesday, but for some reason, Friday, we travel 3 miles to a coffee place called The Alchemist, and we sit for an hour and a half. It's like what we missed throughout the week because we all had to run off. We all realize on Friday, man, we got to go sit and talk. It's like we make up for it. I do have a buddy who complains about the coffees that last longer than 30, 45 minutes because he's like, man, you're supposed to like charge up. The workout's supposed to like invigorate you to go out throughout the day, and coffee just kind of does that too. But if you stay at coffee too long, you lose it. And so don't do that. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know what the magic on that is, but yeah, we'll put some research out there to figure that out.
Yeah. Sage, what about you?
Well, I was you just reminded me. I wanted to thank you, Huck, actually, because I listened to this podcast last week, and you were talking about the circle of trust. And again, I think because we've grown it ourselves, we tend to kind of do announcements, move quite quickly, do the word. But you were just saying, oh, you were bringing much more. You were bringing kind of problems that you wanted to talk about. So I did that on Saturday when I queued last week, and it was really interesting because we're doing a no alcohol challenge for 60 to 90 days or so. So I haven't had a beer for six weeks. And I just brought that up, and some other things just kind of then came flowing out. And it was almost like a mini 30-30, but maybe that's what the circle of trust should be. But it was great because I just took that example and I thought, right, I'll give it a go and share a bit more.
There are some things you guys say, and I don't even know what it is. What is that? A dash off the potsy?
Oh,
what
a dash. I had to get home quickly, so I had to dash off, like run off quickly. And so I didn't have the coffee this morning, unfortunately.
But again, that would have been a parking lot coffee or a park-based coffee with a flask that the queue brings to the workout. So as I said, we don't normally go. We don't. In fact, I don't ever recall having gone off to a coffee establishment post BD. I don't think we've ever done it, have we?
It's not really a coffee.
That doesn't really count. We've gone off.
Not coffee establishment.
Yeah, we've gone off for like a breakfast on special occasions, like for my birthday BD. We went off for a full English breakfast after a BD, which involved some coffee.
Good. It's good.
And for Christmas, the last one before Christmas, which was my 12 days of Christmas workout, we went for a post BD full English breakfast. Yeah, special occasions we do. But my cafeteria this morning was in a hotel, and a filter coffee from a hotel in Finland. And Finland is the highest per capita consumer of coffee in the world. So they know their coffee and they drink a lot of it. So I'm helping.
Something to think about, though, Flea, for us. Maybe we do look at a coffee shop. That's great. We need one.
Put on a big hat and ask you a big question. So suppose we call you tomorrow and we say, y'all are done. We need you to stand on your own. I need you to have a Nantan. I need you guys we're just going to cut you loose and we're going to starfish you off. Would y'all be ready?
I would say so. I think that might have happened a little bit almost already from the connections I had down in the southeast, where I was in regular communication, and now it's fine because we're fine. So keep in touch, but don't really need the support that I needed at the beginning. And I think that just shows again how the model works. So yeah, I think we'd be confident.
Yeah, I think we would actually. Yeah, I mean, again, as long as the principles aren't going to change, regardless of where we are in the world, those 5 principles are the same. Whether we're whether UK or the US, or whether it's Germany or Italy or France or wherever we've kicked up, or wherever kicked up these new AOs, as long as the global principles and mission is the same, it can be run discreetly, it can be run remotely, it can be run geographically. And the same works for, if we look at like global franchises, they have this principle, they have the global logo, and then it's down to local country run businesses to deliver that franchise. How they do it is up to them, but they have to use the logo and they have to use the same principle, so it's that and I forget the name of it. Was it glocalization, if I remember right from my MBA? There is a word for it. It's either glocalization or
I like that.
I don't want to drop the word in the brand name, but McDonaldization. It's something around that where it's this global franchise but delivered locally.
Because it falls back to that proximity piece, same as Nantan's going, well, I'm just too far away to support you.
Yeah.
It's going to apply to us at the top as well, for sure. It's inevitable, and so really excited. You guys are kind of leading the way on that. I think as far as a different nation taking on this this crazy movement that's been started, the greatest movement of good men across the world, and it just keeps growing and growing. And I just got some amazing guys all over the world. And we are coming up an hour and 5 minutes, and I need to go ahead and cut this off. It is Father's Day weekend, guys. Please, presence over perfection. We ain't have to be perfect, just be present. That's what your kids want. Fellowship begins at home. Lead with intent. Tackle that queen and that jester. Make memories, not excuses. We're not busy. Or let's when those kids ask, let's go do something together. And there's a lot of guys in our rank. I know it's Father's Day, but I call them. You'll see. I'm gonna shoot this out in the email to you. Coming up probably Friday. We'll see. There's a lot of men out here who aren't fathers. We call them invisible fathers, stepdads, mentors, coaches, big brothers. I got a buddy in Boston who is spending the month up there for some police training. He's going to miss Father's Day. Reach those guys, check in on them, see how they're doing. And then remember, F3 was free. It was given to us, and now let's keep giving this thing away to just about everybody we can. It's available for. And Flea and Sage, we're going to do this again, right?
100%. Love to.
Cool. All right, I'm going to hit the stop button and play some intro music, and then you guys hang on.